The search for Jermain Charlo continued today in the Missoula area. This is a 23-year-old mother of two. We get a missing person advisory probably maybe a couple times a month, and 98% of those people who are reported missing are going to be found or their case is resolved.
A 23-year-old mother left a bar in downtown Missoula with the last person known to see her alive. He said he dropped her off around 1 in the morning, but her phone did not stay in Missoula. For hours after that drop-off, it connected to cell towers near Evaro Hill, roughly 14 miles north of the city in the area where he lived. He first told police she had the phone when he left her. Then he changed his story. He said she had left it with him. 2 days later, he admitted he threw it away beside a highway in Idaho. Police searched. They found nothing. The phone was never recovered. Neither was Jermain Charlo. She was 23 years old. She had 2 young sons. She had plans, talent, and a life full of people who loved her. And then, one June night in 2018, she was gone. If cases like this matter to you, if you believe missing Indigenous women deserve the same attention as anyone else, stay with this story. Because Jermain deserves to be remembered by name. Jermain Charlo was also known as Jermain Liz Morageau. She grew up in Dixon, a small community on the Flathead Indian Reservation in northwestern Montana. She was a member of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes, and a descendant of Chief Charlo, a name with deep roots in the history of that land. People who knew her described her in the same ways, over and over. Outgoing, bubbly, resilient, intelligent, creative, loving. Her family said she was an amazing artist. She crocheted grocery bags because she cared about the environment. She loved fishing and hunting and spending time by the river. She kept unusual pets, including pigs. She was, by every account, someone who filled the room with warmth. Her world, her family said, revolved around her 2 sons, Jacob and Thomas. She wanted to teach them everything she knew about the outdoors. She wanted to take them fishing. She wanted to show them the land she grew up loving. She had dreams beyond Dixon. She wanted to attend the Institute of American Indian Arts in New Mexico. She worked at Big River Cantina on the Flathead Reservation. She had done seasonal tree planting work with the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. In June of 2018, she was expected to begin that work again shortly. She also had plans connected to wildland firefighting, a job interview or opportunity she never made it to. She had 2 sons and a future she was working toward. That is who Jermain Charlo was before June 15, 2018. That evening, Jermain went out in downtown Missoula. Early reporting said she visited 3 different bars with a well-known acquaintance. Investigation later identified that man as Michael DeFrance, her former boyfriend, and the father of her 2 children. Jermain and DeFrance had known each other since she was about 14, and he was about 16. Their relationship had lasted years. They had built a family together. But by 2017, the relationship was over. Before she went out that night, Jermain posted a short TikTok video. She was wearing blue jeans, a white t-shirt, a gray Under Armour hoodie, cowboy boots, and a light blue baseball cap with a tan bill and 3 trees on the front. It was the same outfit she would later be seen wearing in the last known footage of her. Late on June 15th, surveillance cameras outside the Badlander, a bar in downtown Missoula, captured Jermain. She was talking with people. She was animated. She looked like herself, the bubbly, social young woman her family knew. DeFrance was standing nearby. Shortly before midnight, the 2 of them walked out of camera view together. That was the last confirmed footage of Jermain Charlo. Police said DeFrance drove her away from downtown in his 2011 brown Dodge truck. He told investigators he dropped her near Orange Street Food Farm at approximately 1 in the morning. According to law enforcement, he said Jermain wanted to stay with a friend named Cassidy, who supposedly lived nearby. Police spent time trying to find this person. They could not identify or locate any Cassidy connected to Jermain who matched that account. What investigators did learn was that Jermain had been visiting Missoula partly because she was dating a man named Jacob who lived in that area. Jacob was out of state on the night she disappeared. He cooperated fully with police and was never considered a suspect. Shortly before 1 in the morning on June 16th, Jacob tried to call Jermain. The phone rang. Then it went to voicemail. Jacob reportedly felt the call had been intentionally ended, not ignored, but actively silenced. A Missoula County prosecutor later said that carrier evidence showed the call had been silenced by someone. That evidence did not publicly identify who pressed the button. That was one of the last signals from Jermain's phone inside Missoula. What happened next is where the questions deepen. Jermain rarely went anywhere without her phone. Her family said it was completely unlike her to stop calling, texting, or posting. After that last call was silenced, her phone did not go dark. It stayed active. From roughly 2 in the morning until nearly 10 in the morning on June 16th, her phone connected to cell towers multiple times. Those towers were not in Missoula. They were in the Evaro Hill area, approximately 14 miles north of the city, in heavily forested, rugged terrain on or near the Flathead Reservation. Evaro Hill was also where Michael DeFrance lived. Cell tower data identifies a general service area, not a precise location. The phone was in that general area. It does not publicly prove where Jermain herself was, or whether she was with the phone at all. But the pattern raised serious questions for investigators. When police spoke with DeFrance, his account about the phone changed. He first said Jermain had her phone when he dropped her off in Missoula. In a later interview, he said she had left the phone with him. He said he tried to access it to unlock it, but could not. Then came the part that drew the most attention from investigators. 2 days after Jermain disappeared, DeFrance admitted he threw the phone away. He was working as a truck driver. He said he discarded it near mile marker 984 on Highway 12 in Idaho. Police searched the area. The phone was never found. Detective Guy Baker, the lead investigator on Jermain's case, publicly questioned why anyone would throw away the phone of a missing person if that person was simply expected to come back. Police have not publicly disclosed the full explanation DeFrance gave for his decision. Jermain's family first realized something was wrong on June 16th. Her grandmother contacted family because she had not heard from her. The family called repeatedly. They reached out to hospitals and shelters. Silenced, Jermain had not returned to her home on the Flathead Reservation, about 40 miles from Missoula. Her social media had gone quiet. Her normal behavior, the constant calls, the texts, the posts, had completely stopped. Approximately 48 hours after she was last seen, her aunt Valenda Morajo contacted Missoula authorities. The family also reached out to law enforcement on the Flathead Reservation. On June 20th, 2018, nearly 5 days after Jermain disappeared, Valenda traveled to the Missoula Police Department and officially filed a missing person report. Family members later said they did not initially feel that authorities responded with an adequate sense of urgency. They questioned whether the response would have been different if Jermain had been someone else, if she were not over 18, if alcohol had not been part of the evening, if she were not Native American. These were the family's concerns, expressed over years. No specific officer or agency was formally found to have acted with discriminatory intent, but those feelings of being overlooked stayed with the family. It is worth understanding the broader context. Jermain's disappearance exists within a crisis that indigenous communities have been naming for decades. In Montana, indigenous people make up roughly 6% of the population. But according to one CBS report, they represent approximately 24% of active missing person cases. Advocates describe the disparity as an epidemic. Jurisdictional complexity, limited resources, and questions about investigative urgency have affected families across the country, not only Jermain's. Detective Guy Baker did not take over Jermain's case until roughly 10 days after she disappeared, because he had been away. But once he did, he made her case a long-term priority. In the early weeks, Baker publicly said he believed Jermain was the victim of a criminal act. He said investigators were examining several possibilities: homicide, kidnapping, and sex trafficking. Police had received information suggesting that people from outside Montana may have been attempting to buy a woman in Missoula at that time. That lead was followed. But later, Missoula County Deputy Attorney Brittany Williams said investigators ultimately did not believe Jermain had been trafficked. She said the evidence pointed elsewhere. Law enforcement dedicated serious resources to the case. The Missoula Police Department, the Missoula County Sheriff's Office, Flathead Tribal Police, the Lake County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and the State Crime Laboratory were all involved at various points. Investigators conducted hundreds of hours of work. They executed multiple search warrants, including at least 2 connected to DeFrance's property. Evidence was seized. The State Crime Laboratory analyzed material. Many of those warrant details and results remain sealed because the investigation is still active. Police also conducted ground searches, canine searches, cadaver dog searches in the Evaro Hill area and beyond. Jermain was not found. The community did not wait. Jermain's family, her friends, tribal community members, and strangers organized their own searches. The lifeguard group became involved at the family's request and reportedly led approximately 15 searches covering wooded areas, river corridors, roads near the reservation, and mountain terrain. A search near Grey Wolf Peak Casino reportedly brought out more than 60 people. Family members searched on weekends. Jermain's grandmother prayed daily for answers. Flyers were distributed. Social media campaigns kept her face visible. Funds were raised. A large billboard displaying Jermain's image was placed along Highway 93, facing travel routes near the reservation and Evaro Hill. Police kept Detective Baker's direct contact number on the billboard so anyone with information could reach him. Family members hoped the billboard would serve another purpose too. Jermain's sons, Jacob and Thomas, passed that road. Her aunts wanted them to see their mother's face and know she loved them and had not been forgotten. In the years since 2018, investigators continued building the case quietly. Then, in October of 2024, more than 6 years after Jermain disappeared, police made a significant decision. They released the final surveillance footage publicly through CBS and its program 48 Hours. The goal was to identify anyone who may have seen something that night and not realized its importance. A casual encounter, a face in the background, a conversation someone thought was too small to mention. Detective Baker said directly, "Someone out there knows what happened to Jermain Charlo." That release of footage brought renewed attention to a case that had never truly gone cold, not for the family, and not for investigators. Around the same time, CBS reported something significant about the investigative direction. Police now consider the case a no-body homicide investigation. That phrase requires explanation. A no-body homicide investigation means that investigators may believe a killing occurred even though no body has been recovered and no remains have been identified. It is not a conviction. It is not a filed charge. It is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It is the investigative conclusion that the available evidence, taken together, points toward a killing, even without physical remains. Missoula County Deputy Attorney Brittany Williams, speaking carefully, said she believed the case may be close to moving forward. She also said the prosecution would have only one opportunity to bring a successful case, and that investigators needed to be sure they had enough evidence before acting. No charge has been announced. That statement must not be read as a promise that charges will come. It reflects the prosecution's caution, not a guarantee. As of the time of this documentary's reporting, Jermain has not been found. No suspect has been publicly named. No arrest has been made. No charge has been filed in connection with her disappearance. The questions that remain are not small ones. Why did Jermain's phone travel to the Evaro Hill area, the area where DeFrance lived after the moment he said he dropped her off? If she was with the phone, what does that mean? If she was not with the phone, who was? Why did DeFrance's account about the phone change between interviews? Why did he try to access a phone that did not belong to him? And why did he throw it away not immediately, but 2 days later along a highway in another state? Why could police never identify the friend named Cassidy? Who silenced Jacob's call? What did the searches of DeFrance's property reveal? The sealed warrants may hold answers. The public does not have them yet. There is also a documented history worth knowing. In 2013, DeFrance pleaded guilty to partner or family member assault. Court records show he admitted to hitting Jermain 3 times with his fist. He did not serve jail time. He was prohibited from possessing firearms. Family members described the relationship after that point as continuing to be difficult, marked by emotional distress, breakups, reconciliations, and Jermain trying to hide pain from those who loved her. The couple permanently separated in 2017. In early 2018, Jermain and DeFrance were in a custody dispute over their 2 sons. A judge decided the children would primarily live with their father, with Jermain having visitation. Family members said she was working hard to build stability and get back on track. A cousin said Jermain had expressed loneliness, nightmares, and at times fear about her safety in the months before she disappeared. Jacob, the man she had been dating in Missoula, told police that Jermain had mentioned DeFrance had recently confronted her, yelling at her, questioning whether she was seeing someone, and asking whether she wanted to get back together. This must be understood as Jacob's account to police. It has not been independently proven. It was not enough, on its own, to produce a charge. Valenda Morajo, Jermain's aunt, has said, "I'm never going to give up on her." That sentence carries the weight of 6 years of searching, 6 years of no answers, 6 years of a family keeping vigil for a young woman who should have come home. Jermain's mother, Jennifer Morajo, is still waiting. Her grandmother, Vicky Morajo, still prays. Her aunts still search and speak and keep her name in front of the public. Her 2 sons are growing up without their mother. Detective Baker has said something plainly and repeatedly. "I think Jermain's disappearance is a result of a criminal action." He has also said, "Someone out there knows what happened to Jermain Charlo." He may be right about both. If you know anything about what happened to Jermain Charlo, if you were in downtown Missoula that night, if you saw her leave the Badlander, if you know something about the phone, if you know something that has stayed with you all these years, investigators are still working this case. You can reach Detective Guy Baker at the Missoula Police Department. The number is 406-552-6284. Jermain Austin Charlo was 23 years old. She was a mother, an artist, an outdoorswoman, a tribal member, and a daughter. She crocheted bags for the environment. She dreamed of art school in New Mexico. She had sons she wanted to teach to fish. Her phone was found along a highway in Idaho. She was not. The case is not closed. The questions have not been answered. And somewhere, in a file, in a memory, or in evidence still waiting to be examined, there may still be something that can change that. Jermain Liz Morajo. Still missing. Still not forgotten.